Landlord Airbnb'd my home when I was on vacation. I currently rent a home in California on a 1-year lease. I recently stayed in Vancouver for a couple months with my family to spend time with my new nephew and enjoy summer vacation. When I got back to my house, I had noticed that items from my house have been missing, such as my PlayStation, PC, and even an entire gun safe with a firearm inside. There was no sign of forced entry whatsoever. I filed a police report for the theft alongside asking my neighbors if they saw anything. This is where the WTF comes in. 2 of my neighbors said they didn't even realize I was gone because they saw cars parked in front alongside people coming and going the entire time. I proceeded to ask my landlord if he has had any repairmen or people coming in and going, since that's the only way somebody could have a key to the front. He said he rented out the space on Airbnb when I was gone. I am absolutely furious. He denies any wrongdoing, stating it's his building, and I vacated for the 2 months. I was paying every goddamn month I was gone. I realized now he figured out I was gone since I let him know I would be gone for a few months, so instead of picking up the rent in person with cash, I would cash app him. He is refusing any liability, saying he isn't responsible for the guests and I should just file a renter's insurance claim. The good thing about filing an insurance claim is that they might sue the landlord for you, and they're probably much better positioned to do that. So I'd definitely talk to your insurance company. Your landlord definitely had no right to double rent your apartment while you were still making rent payments on it, regardless of whether you were physically inside it or not. Make a list of everything stolen. Probably already did this for the police report. Tell the police what happened. The landlord may be criminally liable as well, for having knowingly let people into your apartment that had no business being there. And unless your insurance company has this covered on your behalf, sue your landlord for the value of everything stolen and the rent you paid for the 2 months. And consider moving somewhere where the landlord isn't a criminal. He is refusing any liability, saying he isn't responsible for the guests. The obvious retort is, and who exactly allowed those guests access while there was a valid and fully paid up lease? If you didn't already, tell the police that the LL caused the gun to be stolen when they rented out your unit. You should file a renter's insurance claim. You should also sue him, both for a refund of your rent and for any difference between what renter's insurance covers and the current market value of the missing property. You will need to do research and provide comps to the court. If it's less than, or near, $10,000, small claims is the best option. What he did was completely outrageous. As the lessee, you had the exclusive right to use your property, and he breached that. A lawsuit in superior court would require a lawyer, and you may have to pay up front. Whether you could recover attorney fees depends on your lease. It's also probably too small dollar to interest most attorneys, so if you decide to go this route, look for a solo practitioner or a small firm. This is crazy. I would consult a tenant lawyer and actually sue the landlord for this. I think you should find a tenant lawyer to at least have a consultation. California is very tenant-friendly, so the landlord may owe you a lot for damages. They definitely owe you for the stolen stuff, but also very likely they might owe the rent back, and owe damages for unauthorized entry and possibly illegal eviction, utilities. Also unclear about damages covered by the security deposit. Now that they let someone in, they could have damaged something, but how is the landlord going to prove who did it, you, or the guests he let in? Edit. You should also consider damage to your furniture as well. Is there fleas, bed bugs, roaches in your couch after the guests left? Is your bed now covered in blood, urine, semen? In addition to those great points, did the guests use his cookingware, dishes, utensils, non-perishable food items, spices, condiments, etc.? Did they go through his bathroom and touch his personal items? I would throw a lot of things out since I no longer could trust that they weren't contaminated. Anything that wasn't still sealed. The whole idea that various random people were living in a place I was renting while I was gone would bother me quite a bit. That a landlord would do that and think he can get away with it, it's hard to even imagine someone being that stupid. You should sue him. He committed theft and fraud. When you rent a place, you have possession. You could start with the police, and I would do that. Go and file a report and state everything you've written here in this order. I rent this place, hand lease to officer. I made payments for each month of the year, bank statement showing payment. He committed fraud by leasing the space while I was in possession. Sheriffs and police do evictions, so they know the rules to some extent. The people he rented the space to stole from me. He didn't just lease the space. He made your belongings available to them, so he rented your shit and they stole it. Start with the police. This page has some great info as well as the California civil codes that go with them. Your landlord may try to argue that you abandoned the premises, but if you continued to pay your rent, I would think that argument would be thrown out. That's insane. Do you have an electronic or paper trail of the landlord admitting to Airbnb-ing your place? I'd be sure to save that, as well as search online and screenshot any listing if it still exists just to bolster your case. Everyone else gave great advice about filing through your renter's insurance and/or a lawyer. This likely criminal. I'd report to the police, get a consult with a tenant rights attorney, and look into a civil attorney. I can count a few ways with my untrained eye he broke the law. Real civil attorneys, prosecutors could do even better. This is a landmine. If you can, find the Airbnb post and print it. Lots of good advice above. I would also suggest putting holds on your credit with all 3 credit agencies. Who knows what was rifled through and information stolen. I would even consider closing banking accounts and opening new ones with different account numbers. I'm a Caliph real estate broker and also an attorney, but this isn't legal advice and you're not my client. WTAF, is he crazy? Is your lease on the standard California ASOC of Realtors residential lease agreement form? It wouldn't make any difference if this lease was on a napkin. The landlord still can't do this. Get a lawyer ASAP. Make sure to document any and all written and texted or voicemailed proof that the landlord did this. Do not tell your landlord you're suing. Don't stop at one lawyer if you get turned down. That was a totally illegal thing they did and it cost you your belongings. And emotional stress along with other things. Did you know that landlords can't even legally enter your house without your permission or at least 24 hours notice? It's even considered trespassing even though they own the house apartment. Assuming this happened. Best wishes. Lawyer up. Contact police and Airbnb management.